There's been a lot of #MeToo legislation. You've probably been hearing a lot about it. The first one we're going to mention here is board of directors. If you are a publicly held company, you now have a quota for making sure you have women on your board. And depending on the size of your board, you may need to have anywhere from 1 to 3 women on your board of directors. What's interesting to me is they say if you have 6 or more on your board of directors, you need to have, I think it's 3 women on your board. But what that says to me is if you really are a sexist company, you're just going to load your board up with 20 board members and 12 the voices of the 3 women you're going to have on that board. Hopefully that's not what's going to happen. If that is something that does start happening, I'm sure the legislature will address that and have the quota set to be a percentage. But it's very interesting, and it's likely to be litigated because there are some constitutional questions in my mind about the legitimacy of this statute, so stay tuned. We might see some changes on that. Computer software employees, every year we look at the minimum hourly rate and salary for computer software employees to be able to work without overtime. This just came out of the Y2K thing a long time ago where we had IT folks and certain types of IT folks who were paid like $100 an hour. And they had to be working around the clock to beat Y2K, and the government was going, yeah, we're not really getting abused that we need to worry about overtime. They could be getting paid minimum wage at overtime, right? So this became out of that. The new numbers are in here. This is for not just the regular IT guy, but for people who are software engineers, programming analysts, systems analysts, and the like. So be aware of that. So the question is, do they need to clock in or out? It depends on whether or not you're paying them hourly or salary, which
Right,
you have an option. If you're paying them hourly, absolutely, because you need to make sure you pay every hour they work. You can put them on a salary, but again, please do not do this at home. You really need to understand the very limited nature of this exemption. It does not apply to everybody who's a techie. It does not. So it's very, very important to make sure you do not misclassify people in this regard. And this is actually one of the things we're going to be talking about when we do this seminar on classifying people properly. So I encourage you to attend that. But it's very individualized, a lot of confusion as to who is legitimately eligible for this compensation treatment, which can be either hourly or salaried as long as you meet these minimum numbers, which are rather high. We've all been familiar that with the law for a few years now that if you have 50 or more employees, you have to have your supervisors trained for 2 hours every 2 years. If somebody is newly appointed to a supervisory position, they need to get that training within 6 months of coming on board. Well, 2 major changes. First, that requirement is now applicable to employers with 5 or more. So just about everybody now. 5 or more employees. All your supervisors need that 2 hours of training on their supervisory obligations as to preventing harassment in the workplace. Additionally now, all employers with 5 or more, this part is new for the larger folks too, all your rank and file employees need to be trained. Now, I have a lot of folks go, oh my gosh, if I do training, I'm going to get more complaints. I have to tell you, I think this training is super beneficial. We've been doing it for years because it really does help prevent harassment in the workplace. And frankly, I would rather have employees come to their HR person or have the HR person come and see us and let's deal with these issues while they're small rather than they go to a plaintiff's attorney because they're feeling they have nowhere to go.